nothing much that the Link could do alone.
It was tough. It was tough. Hopefully, they are able to adapt a little bit more from MHLK Esports. GPX definitely one game ahead from advancing into the next stage where they will be playing either all these teams, who the winner of this series is going to be playing the final series for today for that final slot into the grand finals. So it is going to be a lot on the line for both of these teams, especially for GPX, who's currently the last Indo team here in this entire tournament. And they are definitely trying their best to fight for Indonesia.
I have to point out that I really like their chill setup. Like, this is one of the chillest setups I've seen for a team. Like, yeah, we've seen the beanbags. It's common. But how often do you see blankets and, you know, snacks around you, all that?
Well, it is very, very close to Ramadan. You know, to Raya, Hari Raya. So it makes a lot of sense why we are already in preparation to go and celebrate. And of course, for those guys who are celebrating Raya, we'd like to wish you guys a little bit earlier as well, because there are debates that tomorrow might be Raya or the day after based on the position of the moon. Not exactly sure how it goes, but of course, everybody is in the holiday seasons. For today, it is going to be the last tournament before we actually proceed into the holiday. So it makes a lot of sense why they're chilling as well, right? If you think about it.
True.
But, you know, we got to do what we got to do. As a professional gamer, we got to work and give our all if we want to stand a chance to be on the best. Even in the holidays, we have to sacrifice time to commit for this tournament. So make it where it's worth. Take the shot. In this case, GPX, one step closer to making it towards potentially the grand finals if they win the two respective series today.
Okay, speaking about taking the shot, right? Will we see a Mincetar being played?
Maybe. I don't know.
Do we need a Mincetar?
Based on that game, both teams didn't need a Mincetar. Didn't really need a Mincetar. Maybe on GPX side for game 1 would be a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. They still won. If it works, it works. You know, if you don't really need to force something new, if there's nothing wrong with the draft, right? Even though I feel like there is some miscommunications, but all in all, based on the drafts, I feel like the biggest mistakes was not coming from GPX. It came down to the drafts coming from MHLK Esports. Their drafts were very, very limited because of the fact they force-picked the Link.
Yeah, well, Link generally is great, right? But I guess it's really down to execution at the end of the day. So now we can see the only ban that was picked in the previous round is Farsa. And we didn't talk about like how much of a difficulty they have in trying to deal with the Farsa. Yes, you have a Link, but then again, the function of a Link that they probably had previously was a little bit different until they had to switch to a team fight. And Link didn't really have access to Farsa, so they were like, okay, nope, we're not going to think about it, let's just ban it out.
Yeah, I guess. But when it came down to all this plays coming in from MHLK Esports, Faram is still once again up for grabs. They can still double down and potentially pick the glue for themselves. But considering that the Arlot is also in the pool, having that priority isn't too bad as well, considering that if they open up their Arlot, GPX pretty sure is going to go for the Faramis as well as the glue. But with the Yeef being in play, Frederick completely ignored from both sides. I feel like GPX, sorry, let me rephrase that. I think MHLK Esports is more afraid of GPX bringing the Frederick once again, rather than them picking a Faramis, which arguably they do know how to play their composition.
Okay, I'm going to put a wild card here, right? The Yeef pick. Generally play in the middle.
Yep.
But we have seen in recent professional games in the past few weeks.
You're talking about MPL Malaysia Yeef support.
Yeah, Yeef support. I don't know, man.
It's Todak, bro. It's the Todak things.
I don't know, man.
Robe Yeef won the game, MVP of the match. Yeah. Should not be possible, but you know, it's classic Todak things. But GPX, they ignore the traditional meta picks. They are going to stick their own meta this time. They're taking the Kaja as well as the Lancer for themselves.
Okay, so what we learned from the Kaja previously is that, okay, you gotta have a good setup. Your opponent has to have a setup that the Kaja is able to take advantage of. If everyone goes, whether it's very on the back line or whether the frontliners are all really, really tanky, you don't really have target, or if your frontliner is a very mobile, Kaja is going to have a difficult time. But in this case, in this kind of setup, I think Kaja will be assigned to deal with the Yeef first.
I guess. But Faram is completely ignored by both sides. And the Arlot already being picked off. That means GPX, they have the option to go for the glue right here. Perfect time to go for it. And then either ban the Faramis or pick it for themselves immediately for themselves. A pretty strong starting lineup, but at the same time, the Melissa still shreds through everything that the Glue brings to the table. But GPX looks like they are going to double down with the composition. And this is why I'm a professional Mobile Legends caster. I'm so good at predicting this.
You called it right. You called it right. So you have the Glue right now. Will we see a Fire Mist? And if we see a Fire Mist, is this the Yi Bro? Come on, man.
Nah, I don't think it's a
Come on,
Bro,
come on, man.
No,
Come on, man.
Dude. The entire world in Mobile Legends community, regardless of whatever region, everybody knows Todak is Todak, man. They're just so good at playing one of the most unorthodox compositions that technically should not be able to win. They still somehow make it win in their respective regions, but they did never ever bring it into the professional scene. And I think the only team that kind of did it was Team Hawk in the previous M4 with the Euphoria. Didn't exactly go too well, but still made a decent amount of results. But this time, they didn't even make it to playoffs, which unfortunately to say, feels bad for Team Hawk, man.
Oh, man.
Feels bad.
Yep. I mean, that's a story. That's a story to tell there. But okay. So if that's the case, then definitely we wouldn't see the Fire Mist being picked up as well at all. So GPX has no reason to ban the Fire Mist.
Yep.
But if it gets picked up, I'm out of here.
So that's the thing, right? GPX, they are in a situation where if they ban Faramis, they are gonna be picking something else as priority. But if they don't pick Faramis, and considering this is the second phase, they will have first picks first. They should be drafting the Faramis right here, right now, to make sure that MHLK Esports doesn't play that. But at the same time, I agree what your perspective is. If they go for the Faramis, means that MHLK Esports is gonna be playing it either a Eve or Faramis support, which I don't think it should be advisable for MHLK Esports, but it is still very doable because even if it's a support, as long as you're level 4 and you go for the split form, even if you don't have the damage to do so, it is 80% off Glue's health completely chucked off. If there is anyone around the split form, that's pretty much one shot. Even if you're a highest net worth farm jungler alongside the split.
Okay.
With one Ghostbuster, which arguably is about 3 seconds to spam. So it's disgusting. So, GPX, do they go for Faramis? I think they should. If they don't, MHLK might be forced to go for it. No, they don't go for it.
Okay.
They're testing MHLK Esports if they want to go for this.
Okay,
it's risky. It's risky for MHLK Esports. But this is a hard counter for the Glue.
Oh, it's absolutely... Okay, so the good news for GPX is that they played a Valentina before. Once, but they got a win out of that. So they definitely know what they're doing here with the Valentina pick. And I believe this must be a... They're trying to some sort of counter the Eve. That would be the best one as compared to the others.
Oh no, they don't take the risk.
No choke.
They don't take the risk with the Faramis. GPX gets away with it. Their Glue is pretty much locked down, uncontested. That's good for them. But at the same time, now they need a final marksman from the side of GPX. And I think Brody isn't too bad, but nope, they played safe. They go for the Moskov instead.
Okay.
Against the Melissa. Very, very weird adaptation coming from both sides. GPX definitely has the easier composition to play with, but MHLK Esports has a lot of strong AoE CCs. And this feels more a little bit more of a balanced draft coming from both sides now, compared to Game 1.
I mean, yeah, MHLK at the end of the day, they did their homework, right? They banned out the Claude, which was used before this by GPX. They obviously picked the Melissa for themselves. So it's like GPX was at some point, it's like, okay, what do we really pick since some of our favorite picks have been taken? Don't worry, we have the Moskov anyway. And the Moskov is definitely very, very good. And in current metas as well. I would say the pecking order, from what I observed in the favorite picks, it's like you got Beatrix, and then you got Melissa, and then you have the Moskov. So Moskov is not too far away in terms of favorite picks in the current meta for this tournament.
Well. Drafts has been set. Fighting for the tournament lives is going to be MHLK Esports, while GPX 1 game away from making it towards the lower bracket finals. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game 2 for MHLK Esports going up against GPX, the last defending team for Indonesia.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we saw an attempt by GPX early on to do the jungle invade, and it didn't really work out because MHLK Esports, they were prepared for it. They had to give the purple buff towards Link. But this time around, a little bit of a jungle invade by GPX, but not as desperate as before. They're not too desperate to try to block the purple buff away, which is kind of okay for them. But I do expect to see a similar setup as before. Is that 1 minute before the turtle even shows up, we can see GPX, but GPX almost losing Creeble.
Oh my goodness. That is something that they did not expect at all. It seems like they are going to be playing a little bit of a slow approach now, considering that there has been a little bit of harassment down the lane. But I don't think there's a big problem for them, considering that they are still zoning things out for the first engagements, right? So in this case, when it comes to this composition, GPX, obviously, you know, the glue is going to have a pretty decent time. The gold lane is going to be a priority just because of how both teams has their own identical win condition now, where they have to funnel through the gold laners. And in this case, CY going to be taking some damage from Ray, but he's out of position as well. Kelvin going to be in position to punish this. Ray taking a little bit too much, but MHLK doesn't have what it takes to actually catch him off guard.
Ooh, I'm thinking around Kelvin right now, who is pretty much anti-CC. So it might be a little bit of a trouble for GPX to try to lock him down. Considering that, okay, he has played a hero that's MLBB, but hang on that thought for a second.
Oh no, Ziri overcommitted his stay, gets picked apart. Kelvin shifted his target. There was nothing the glue could do. So close to his split. Once he got it, he might have survived this. And now, MHLK Esports, they are going to get a free turtle. GPX not going to be able to do too much with that play just because of the small mistakes that GPX kind of did.
Okay, now I'm wondering, okay, GPX besides the Yi, besides Daiso, who can they dive into, especially with Fredo QT, with the Divine Judgment? It's going to be a hard pick as well. Yeah, you can try to get CY, but CY can put a distance from the fight, so their only best bet is try to get Yi. I feel that it's kind of like mirroring the thought process of what we have in the previous game, is that how is Fredo QT going to find the target for him to start things off?
Yep, it is very, very tough indeed. MHLK Esports now going to be trying another fight as well. We got the throw ball. Big final slash comes in with the real world manipulation. It's going to connect on the members of GPX, but they have to go in for the stall. Ziri is doing a fantastic job going for the setup as well, but they all clumped in. They don't have the damage to finish them off, and they are forced to disengage. And now with the Wave of the Dragon coming in, they punish Ziri, and MHLK Esports looks so much stronger compared to game one. And with that being said, GPX, it is going to be back to the drawing board for them. Yeah,
a lot more control as well. We can see how they got the objective, which was the turtle. It was totally unchallenged by GPX. And right now, GPX with the Kaja pick, I feel that it's going to be difficult for Fredo QT to really show his stuff because of what we just discussed earlier on. And I'm afraid that it will be the same case as the game before, whereby you have one hero who's very difficult to find function in this kind of lineup.
Yeah, I agree. GPX and MHLK Esports, they're just, you know, struggling to actually, you know, force a couple of fights, especially for GPX, right? Like, they understand that, you know, they have a very, very nice pickup potential, but MHLK Esports has just so much AoE and CC controls where towards the middle, later stage of the game, GPX is going to lose out in all of these trade-offs unless they get a one-shot burst. In this case, they don't have what it takes yet. They have to kite around and try to bait out major spells in order to make a comeback. And MHLK Esports just has so much more room to work with compared to game number one.
Okay, speaking about baiting, right? Let's see who's the bait here. But CJ, oh no! Another overextension.
Oh my goodness, he is in a bit of trouble as well. Revolution comes to save the day, and the pixel, and CJ was able to buy enough time. And GPX, they're losing members, and now even the turtle as well, they force the fight down bottom. And MHLK Esports, they're grouping up as two. GPX, they're chipping away, but eventually, can they get the finish? Ziri, unable to get the finish at all, forces the flicker, and that's going to be a disengage coming in unless Ray has something to say. Yes, he will get the kill, and Nanayex not going to be able to let him off the hook, and that's a very nice pick from GPX.
Oh, nicely done there. But then again, overall, it still favors towards MHLK Esports. They won the mini skirmish at the top. They got the total objective. So that was great play there by MHLK Esports. It kind of split out the members of GPX, not allowing them to focus onto the objective. And finally, when the turtle was taken, okay, that's great. GPX only got a consolation by that one kill. But other than that, it is looking good for MHLK Esports in overall.
It is indeed looking so much better. And GPX, definitely needs to try and rethink how they want to play around this composition, because this pickoff coming from MHRLK is starting to fall off because they just don't have the damage to actually going for the finish. But speaking of finish, MHLK, they've got all the time in the world now to actually play this, just because of how CY is going to be able to skate into the game compared to what in terms of overall team fight potential.
You can see the movement from FredoQT is trying to find a target for him to use the Divine Judgment, but there's no right target. When he goes into the jungle, he sees Kelvin, not the target that he wants. When he goes in, he sees NIX, not the target that he wants. So right now, it's for him to try to catch Daiso, but Daiso will not be alone. So even though if he catches, like, there'll be other teammates to follow up. So we can see that FredoQT is struggling to move around.
NIX going for the cake. The glue is going to be the first one to fall. Can he get the split clear in time? Yes, he will. He's going to get out. Meanwhile, the counter room leadership coming from Creep, who's trying to set things up. And MHLK, they have to back out, but at the same time, Ziri is getting pulled back. He's going to try and extend the fight. And here it comes, GPX. They have the damage coming from Ray to burst down the Eve, and that's going to be the Eve to fall. And they are going to try to disengage with no Eve available. MHLK Esports, they are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Ziri going for the second split to try and isolate the fight. Kelvin going to be in latch on as well. The turtle will be stolen by Kelvin, but Ziri, does he want to continue this fight? But unfortunately, this is a very tanky Martis. Doesn't want to commit to it.
Okay, yes. This is where Martis is very hard for them to counter, because Martis anti-CC, how are you going to deal with that? And plus we can see that Kelvin, he's the type of guy who knows how to go in and go out of fights. He knows how to kind of draw GPX to just dish out everything onto him and go back out. And he has his teammates around him to give him backup. Daiso is always there.
Yeah, this is something that I think that they eventually need to figure out, right? Like, they understand that MHLK has all the CC. GPX was able to get a very, very nice position to kind of kite and bait this out, right? But it all comes down to whether or not the series is able to set up this kind of plays. And Watt right now in a little bit of awkward position. He's trying for a fight against CJ. Divine Judgment available at the right time, allowing Watt to get that easy pill. Mistakes from CJ, but they are going to be forcing another fight down bottom as well. GPX, they are throwing bodies for this, but at the same time, they have the damage to win the fight. MHLK not grouped up. They get to NIX. Going to be looking for the run here, but Creepo is going to stall him off, and that's going to be Ziri getting the kill. Meanwhile, top side, Kelvin trades off as well, as knowing that GPX is not in this vicinity to contest the top side.
Ruthless from GPX, at least at the bottom lane. At the top lane, I thought like, okay, GPX committed so many heroes to get one. But then again, you kind of look at it at the bottom like, okay, they got it all in control. They have the advantage. They were very aggressive. By the time the camera was shown to us, it's like they're already all in onto MHLK Esports. Right now, GPX just trying to exploit the advantage that they have, especially with FredoQT. They must take the fight towards MHLK Esports, and that's exactly what they did.
Yep, 10 seconds left before this next Lord as well. MHLK Esports already in a very, very strong position, but they still need a little bit more time for CY, because Watt is able to get a little bit of a lead against this marksman, and eventually GPX, they need to play around Watt, but it seems like it's just not worth it. They know that it's hard to fight against what MHLK Esports is going to be in this position, especially when they're prepared to take the fight. And it seems like on the bottom lane as well, they're setting up for FredoQT to punish one player in particular. But while the Lord is going to be baiting out as well, GPX, they might be having forced to regroup this fight. They take a tier 2 down bottom, but the split coming from the glue is going to try and zone them out. But at the same time, the Lord going towards the last 50-50 trick. Can they go for it? And it's going to be Ray that steals it! And MHLK gets absolutely no value because they've lost the Arlot down bottom, and now they might even lose the tier 3. GPX got away with it, 3v2, and then focusing on the crystal. What are you thinking? The rest of MHLK is here. They lose FredoQT, and now they even lose Watt in the process. Greedy plays get punished, and MHLK Esports was able to salvage that.
I mean, it was great for GPX until the point where, like what you mentioned, greedy play. They wanted to go for the crystal, but there was no minions there. So, I mean, they should have just pulled back from then onwards. Everything was great until that moment. But I really like the patience play by GPX. It's like they tried to stall time at the Lord area, allowing their teammates to push on and get the inhibitor turrets. But then again, it stopped until there. If only GPX pulled back, then GPX will be in a great position.
Miscommunication coming from both from MHLK Esports. As soon as CJ was able to scout 2 members, should have relayed it to MHLK to commit to that fight in the Lord Pit. But because of that, they lost the fight. But now with the Wave of the Dragon coming in, Ziri gonna be able to escape this with his Glop News, and he is gonna be able to regen a little bit more. Meanwhile, on the top side, here comes the stun again. CJ getting pinned to the wall by Juan as he picks him off, and now Kelvin in a position that wants to extend the fight, but they are just backing off. They cannot give chase, but they still have the revolution. But the bottom lane as well, the minions again, another split mission push coming from GPX as they try to take the crystal. But Ray is still alive. He is going to try and pressure. He will be able to get out with this landslide, and the rest of the team is there to provide assistance.
Oh, again, sounds like a similar story on how they managed the minion wave. The minions putting pressure onto GPX's space, and that is where, onto MHLK's space, and that is where MHLK was forced to go back down. They didn't have the numbers to defend the top lane. GPX took advantage of it, and they're just waiting for the next wave to come in.
MHLK Esports getting out macroed coming in from GPX, and this is going to be a problem because eventually GPX, they have to figure out what they have to do. In this case, MHLK Esports backs against the wall. They're losing out on all these macro aspects, and it is starting to hurt them in the butt. But now, let's look at the items real quick.
Okay, so looking at the current... Okay, just look at the damage leaderboard by itself. So what? So much damage as compared to everyone else. And besides that as well, we can see that, okay, who's at the full item right now? We're almost at the full item for most of the members of GPX. Look at their goal advantage as well, 3,000 plus.
Exactly. But speaking of items as well, double radiant armors coming from GPX to deal with the Yi itself and MHLK Esports. However, they are in a position where they are doing well to deal with the Valentina. But eventually it comes down to marksman where both sides doesn't have much to deal with each other's marksmen. And in terms of mobility, GPX definitely has a little bit more mobility to work with. Kelvin alone by himself. They do scout out on the top side. That means GPX is going to be looking to make the jump, but they are going to try and bait out with the Lord. Meanwhile, top side, they are also once again going for this 3-2 composition with Watt as well as Fredo QT not showing themselves. They're looking for their one-shot potential, but speaking of one-shot, they get the pick, and here it comes again. And now MHLK is able to react, and they are going to trade off one. They get the kill, but the Lord is still up for grabs, and that's going to be GPX that trades and off. They trade 2 for 1, and Kelvin now going to be isolated as well. They have to kill him off, but Kelvin, he's so tanky. The rest of the teams are here. The revolution is going to keep him alive, and GPX, they have to run away, and MHLK finally adapting to this macro plays from GPX.
Oh, right now, GPX just needs to buy time, wait for the Lord to arrive, and by the time the Lord arrives, Watt should be out. They don't need to jump in, they just need to play this disciplined game, just buy time for the Lord. And at the same time, look at the top lane, the minion wave is going to push in as well.
Oh, this is disgusting with the Lord coming in. Watt is already just made their way from the base, so there's no way GPX is going to be committing to this fight. As MHLK, they know they somehow hang on again to try and buy a little bit more time for this Melissa. Eventually, it all comes down to whether or not CJ is going to be able to force, to commit to a 5v5 fight, because GPX is just so annoying right now.
Ooh, it is very annoying, the fact that they have to deal with the top lane, they have to deal with the Lord at the bottom lane, and they don't have a inhibitor turret. It's definitely not helping MHLK Esports, and they just lost their tier 2 mid turret as well. So right now, it's all about GPX playing the discipline game. If we look at the amount of kills as well, it's not that big. In fact, both teams tied at 8 kills, but it's all about the map control for GPX. It's all about the wave control for GPX, and they're doing it really well. Like what you mentioned, the keyword here right now is that GPX, they have control of the macro plays. And as long as they can stick to that plan, they'll be great.
Yeah, this is it all comes down to whether or not they find the 50-50 flip, right? GPX, they tried it 3 times, eventually MHLK was able to read, and now they're grouping up as 5 to force a fight, knowing that they have the minions in their favor. Now the conceal play comes in, they get the stolen divine judgment on Kelvin, but can they focus him down? No, they cannot. They've got immortalities, and now with the Melissa going for the go away, you can see why they're trying to latch him on. Ziri trying to pull him back as well. The rest of the team, they want to kill the Melissa, but from behind, behind to get the damage to kill him off. No Melissa, GPX. Now, knowing that there's no Melissa, they have so much map control. They can look to close up this game. But is MHRLK Esports gonna make another mistake? Ziri is gonna try and throw his body, bait this out. The middle turret gonna be exposed. Split coming from Ziri to try and extend the fight. He's getting CC'd out, but they do not want to force the fight. But eventually, they will settle down with the tier 3s. GPX still has the numbers, still has the minions. But do they want to risk it for the biscuit? MHRLK, 8 seconds left before he comes back alive. Real Vision to buy time for him. But GPX, it seems like they are going to be able to get out. Kelvin, they're trying to extend the fight. But here he comes, the Way of the Dragon, the second stolen Divine Judgment once again to prolong the fight. GPX is trying to pick them apart. But it's not worth it. CY just regroup, respawn, and MHRLK Esports still hangs on. But the Lord is going to be up for grabs. GPX, they're doing so much damage. MHRLK, do they want to force this? No, they cannot. The Lord Wars, it's just too quick for GPX.
Oh, that was one of the longest play-by-plays there. It's been a while. But then again, now we can see how disciplined GPX is. They made their mistake early on. They know they should have overcommitted at the bottom lane, but now because they learned their mistake, they adapted so quickly. Just look at how they try to pull out MHRLK Esports from their base and try to take advantage of this. And the moment MHRLK Esports expanded all their skills, expanded all their ults, they moved towards the lot that came out just in time. And now they're just going to reset, shove up all the lanes again, and they're going to just rinse and repeat until they finish up the game.
Oh, this is so hard. But MHRLK Esports, once again, they cannot afford to make mistakes like this. They still have immortalities. They have to buy time for this Lord. GPX, do they throw bodies? They take the out inhibitor, but they need to kill the Melissa. Early go away comes in, but no, they got the pin on towards one of them. That's going to be FredoQT being bursted down. CY finishing him off, and now GPX, they have to back out. The Melissa is just fighting them all back. Kelvin going to try and drop them down low enough, but the Lord is still alive, and they will lose members because of CY. They're taking too much. They have to sound the horn of retreat as they back off. But the Crystal down towards 20%. They're not going to overcommit, and they are going to hold on for MHRLK Esports.
Oh, they try to take advantage of all the chaos that happened underneath the Crystal. But then again, the targeting for MHRLK Esports, they know exactly who to take on first. They try to take on, especially FredoQT. FredoQT jumped in, and FredoQT was the first to go out. And from then on, they know they have the numbers game. They know they have the advantage. And plus, they took out a good number of immortalities from the side of GPX. And now without immortalities, GPX cannot jump in.
Exactly, with the fleeting time on FredoQT, he cannot afford to make any more mistakes. He doesn't have a flicker, but he does have the Divine Judgment. Nice punish coming from MHRLK Esports. Go away, Captain away. Purple buff. Now, we up for contested GPX. However, they be in a position where they have to wait out those immortalities 58 seconds before this next Lord. But GPX, they have so much more room to work with. Look at the minions here.
Oh, man.
They're all shoved across the map. MHRLK Esports, the moment they split off, you are going to be expecting this Divine Judgment coming in from FredoQT to start engaging in some of those players here.
Yeah, and arguably they'll be dependent on NIX because he has high mobility to try to shove up the lanes. But then again, if it's not within the team fight, it's going to be tough as well because he will be needed to try to lock down Kribo within the team fight with his Way of the Dragon. So he's still needed within the fight, meaning that when they want to shove out the lanes, they have to go all in together. If not, they get picked up by GPX.
It's tough. It is indeed tough. GPX waiting for an ambush as well. Seems like they have two choices here. If they go for the Lord contest, they are in a position to rat their way through. They're thinking about having Series solo the Lord on the top side to bait reactions for MHRLK Esports. But at the same time, it's just not worth it. We are down to the final stage of the game. It's tough. It's really tough.
Okay, this Lord, if GPX gets it, that's pretty much it. Considering that it could come with casualties for the side of MHRLK Esports as well. We can see that CJ is very, very confident. He has the immortality. So he's going to try to do something there, but it's not going to be a big of an impact.
Agreed, but now you can see CJ, he's going to try and buy a little more time. Ray already trying to bait out a couple fights, but once again, GPX, they're setting up for the exact play on the top side for FredoQT and Watt to try and set up an ambush. They're having Ziri cut the back lines as well. CY will scout out the glue. He's going to try and latch on, but the go away comes in. But Ziri, he might be pipped away, but the split is going to keep him alive. But will he be able to survive this here? He's taking a little bit too much damage. He's baiting Kelvin to go for the decimation, but it looks like it is not going to happen. He will eventually try and give chase, but they're all split off. There's a minion shoving in the bottom lane. GPX can go for the reset once again, but MHLK, they're grouped up as 5. They want to force a fight, but I don't think they're going to get it. They have to recall back CY. And the Noda Spear cancels it! No! They scout this out as well. MHLK, they're losing valuable time. They are sending some guy to defend the bottom lane, but GPX already in control to bait with the Lord. And now Fredo QT with the Divine Judgment. They pull him. They go in for the fight. And now that's going to be the first immortality. Ziri going to be stalling the backlines as well as they slowly pick them apart. Look at this, Ray. He's going to give chase, but they do not have the damage. He's not in range, but Ziri will pull him back. He will try to kill CJ, but he will die towards first immortality, and that's gonna be the decimation coming in from MHLK Esports, but they somehow still hold on.
Oh, not letting go, but look at this. Mid lane shoved in, bottom lane shoved in as well. MHLK Esports, they have to consider their options right now. Are they still gonna go in and pursue for the Lord?
It's tough. Fredo QT, he died. He's gonna be immortality. Strengthens with all CY, picks them apart. The Lord down to 20% health. GPX, they're not making a move. They're baiting them out. The Lord, they think it's free, but guess what? Surprise! They find one on the sides. Indiex goes for the fall. CY still holding on. Ray getting sold out by Kelvin. It comes down towards the final 50-50 point flip. The Lord still going to be out for grabs. They lose the Yeef at the back lines, but CY is gonna try to force his fight. Grebo drops him down low, and that's gonna be Ray getting a double kill. They kill the Melissa, and now MHLK Esports, they're losing their lives. And GPX, they're holding on. CJ, he tries his best, but Grebo kills them off with this Valentina. Triple kill for him. The minions are coming, and MHLK Esports, they have to back off to defend against this.
No choice, no choice. They have to back out, but then again, that would mean that the Lord will be exposed. So now it's going to be Lord for the side of GPX. They're going to rinse and repeat, get the Lord, play it disciplinedly, wait for the Lord to come back in, but NIX is there.
Oh my goodness, Grebo, he has to stall for time. Ray is down towards half HP, 22 minutes left as well. He does have the stolen kick. He is going to try and kill off NIX. What a good kill, but now the Lord is going to be free for GPX. 4 members down for MHLK Esports. GPX, they're looking to close up the game. CY, he just respawned. And the Melissa, gonna be the biggest problem for GPX to overcome.
They still need to wait for the Lord. They still need to play this disciplinedly because they have CJ back for MHLK Esports, so they're gonna defend this. They don't have NIX, okay. But they cannot take this risk. GPS cannot take this risk. If they take this risk, if they get wiped out, there's a possibility that MHLK Esports can just end the game. So they need to come in together with the Lord.
Oh, it's tough with the Lord coming in. They need CY to throw bodies for this. They do not have immortalities. While GPX, they can't just completely collapse on this. CY, he's trying his best, but he's taking a little bit too much damage. Look at this, Ray. He's going to try and isolate. He's going to be forced to go away. And he's going to get the reset, but the Lord's still alive. GPX, they're taking a little bit too much damage. But CY with some danger, scares them apart. He takes on one, and now they're dropping so low. Double kill for him. CY finally falls. One, he will focus on the crystal. He will take him down before dying to his life. And that is going to be GPX taking the 2-0 against MHLK Esports.
This is huge. Huge for GPX, the last representative of the Indonesians. And now, as what's mentioned during the Trash Talk session, they did a 2-0 before. They're going to do it again. They live up to what they say. GPX will move on to the next round. MHLK Esports will be eliminated.
GG. Well played to GPX. However, MHLK Esports,